Hi guys. So I am in a gender and communication class for school. I'm taking it as one of my C credit courses, and we were assigned to do a project as like a public intervention. And this is what I chose to do. I chose to make a YouTube video, and I just want to talk about some of the things I've learned in the class and some of the perspectives that have really opened up my eyes and changed the way I've thought about things. The class and like the teacher it's not about like changing your perspective on things or like forcing you to believe something, or yeah, it's not that, like, that's not what it's about. It's just about to like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Didn't know my ringer was on. It's just about it's about teaching students new things that maybe we didn't know before, or giving us more insight on topics so that we can have a better understanding on how to view life and navigate our way through life, I would say. So we kind of started off talking about masculinity and how men should act, and we also talked about how women should act and their roles, and we've talked about feminism. And today actually in class we talked about intersex, people who are born intersex. So kind of the first thing I want to talk about is masculinity. So we had a video assignment a few weeks ago, and in that video I talked about masculinity and how I think that not that this is how men should act, but this is what I look for in a guy. I think that men should have good manners, of course. They need to have respect for women, have respect for their partner. And I had also mentioned that I grew up around Lake Havasu, and I was actually just in Havasu this past weekend. And a major role of the man is, you know, to load the boat onto the trailer, drive the boat, drive the big lifted trucks and freight liners, and kind of take on that role as a man. That's what they're expected to do. You don't see the wives or the girlfriends loading the boats, or not loading, you don't see them driving the big DCBs or driving the big skaters. That's just, you don't really see that too often. So that's kind of what I grew up around. I, of course, see things on the completely opposite side of the spectrum. You know, I do watch a ton of YouTube. I watch Jeffree Star, I watch Manny MUA, I watch James Charles, and you know, they're some of the most successful beauty gurus in the community doing makeup. They're doing makeup for their, like, as their career, for a living. Jeffree Star has one of the most successful makeup brands in the industry. Like, what? Jeffree, this brings up another really good topic. Jeffree Star is androgynous. He was born a man, but you know, he's androgynous. He likes makeup, he likes wearing high heels, he does wear dresses. And you know, you say the name Jeffree Star and it's very controversial. To me and to my friends, he is very normal. You know, we watch his videos, Every time they come out, we get together, we order Dirty Dough, whatever, and we watch his videos, and it's just no big deal. Like, that's just who he is, that's who he wants to be, and he's really successful doing what he wants. So when you bring up Jeffree Star to say middle-aged people or even my parents, they're like, ew. Or like my friend Nicole, her mom, we always talk about Jeffree with her mom. They're like, ew, he's gross. Is he a man? Is she a girl? Like, what is it, you know? And Jeffree's Jeffree. Jeffree is who he wants to be. And another interesting topic is Jeffree is dating a man. Okay, he's dating a guy named Nathan. And Nathan, before his relationship with Jeffree, was only attracted to female. And now he's in this relationship with Jeffree. They've been dating for years now. And that's just, it's very interesting. Very interesting, I would say. But you know, like, if they're happy, then that's how it should be. Like, it should be accepted. So many people are so quick to judge and, oh, Nathan's just in it for the money. Well, honey, Nathan started dating Jeffree before Jeffree's brand even took off all big and huge and this huge empire of success. So you're wrong there. So yeah. But back to Havasu. I think that, you know, it's personal preference, it's what you're into. And for me, I think that whoever I find or who I'm interested in, you know, needs to have that manly man power. You know, he needs to like being around trucks and boats and razors and putting in some hard work to be able to get those toys, having a successful job, and all of those aspects. Now, what's interesting is, you know, we have these perceptions of masculinity and how a man should act in society, and I have my perception on how I want a man to act. On the other side, women are, you know, slowly growing into taking higher positions in the workforce, and just in general, you don't see too many women staying at home cooking and cleaning and taking on that role. You know, that's kind of, we're shifting away from that. It's also so expensive to live these days that both spouses need to be working to be able to sustain and to live in this society. Is so expensive. Housing, food, everything. It's crazy. And another thing is, I was talking to my dad at breakfast in Havasu, and he was like, oh, do you follow blah 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 Instagram account? And I was like, no, like, what is that? And he was like, go look it up. He told me the username, and it is this woman, she's around 25, and she races boats and cars. She races DCBs. Her dad did it, so she started getting into that, and I can relate to that. I don't know how to drive a DCB. It's pretty complex. I would love to learn in the future. I would absolutely love to learn how to drive a DCB and be able to go those fast speeds. But you know, my sister and I were driving Razors. Razors are like ATVs, like dune buggies. You take them in the desert or in the sand dunes. Jesse and I have been driving those since we were way before we got our permit, we knew how to drive them. And, you know, we like taking those, we like going fast. We've been growing up in boats our whole life. So I would love, like, I love speed. I would love to learn how to drive a DCB. And that, you know, that's kind of unheard of. So it's kind of funny how we have these expectations of how men should act, but that women can also uphold those positions, like driving boats and stuff. But the other way around in society, if a man kind of acts girly, you know, that's frowned upon. That's, no, he's frilly, he's gay, like they use those terms. So this class has really opened up my eyes to have a more, like, to not be so harsh, to be more opening, to let people do what they want, and nothing's wrong with that. I mean, I don't think I was very judgmental before because I watch YouTube and I watch guys put makeup on, and I watch Gigi Gorgeous and Nikita Dragun. They're both transgender. So I feel like I'm very open in that sense, but you know, they're on a TV screen. When you're put out into real life and you're seeing these people walking on the streets or through campus, to have a more opening outlook in that sense. Kind of know what I'm saying? So yeah. Another thing that we were talking about was feminism. So when I would hear the word feminism, I would think of, you know, women on the news screaming into the camera with big posters and being obnoxious, and I would have to agree, or you would have to agree, that that's what most people think feminism is, or that's what you think of when you hear the word. But really, it's not that. It's not that. Let me look up the definition for you right now. I know it, but I want to read it word for word. Feminism. No. Or a feminist. I'll read that. No, I'm not going to read that because that says a person who supports feminism. So let me, sorry. Feminism. Definition. Got it. The advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. So after hearing that definition, most people are feminist. Most people support feminism. If you want equality of both sexes, then you're a feminist. Now, what's hard is when you hear the word feminism or feminist, you automatically think of what I had said before, the screaming on the TV. But it's really important that we know the meaning and definitions of things so we can use these terms correctly. Based off hearing that definition, you would probably say, yeah, I'm a feminist. But when you're talking to someone and that comes up in conversation, it goes down a lot differently, right? So we broke that down in class and we talked about that, and just taking one class period, an hour and 15 minutes, to break that down and talk about it and actually know the meaning behind it. My professor, Anna, re-asked the class and was like, so who would say that they're a feminist? And most people raised their hands. I mean, if you want equality for both sexes, duh, you're a feminist. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm sick. But then what we talked about today was very interesting. We talked about intersex. Okay, intersex is where you're born maybe with XY chromosomes, chromosomes, but you could look like a female, or your genitalia might not match with your chromosomes. It just kind of like depends on the situation and how you are born. And we were reading from the textbook, and you know, there was some cases that right when the child was born, the doctor made the decision to have a gender reconstruction surgery for the child. The doctor made the decision without the parents' consent, without the child's consent, and that was a messy situation. Then there was another case where the parents made the decision, and then there was another case where the parents didn't make the decision. They let the child grow up, and then they let the child make the decision once they got older and once they knew what they wanted. And you know, that's just really hard, because there's a fine line of, as a parent, do I make this decision and let my child grow up confused, and then maybe they don't want to be that gender once they're old enough to realize how they were born, or do I let them grow up without the surgery and then be confused growing up? You know, it's really hard. And so we didn't dive too deep into that because we spent most of the class reading from the textbook, but I found that super interesting, and putting yourself into the position of being a parent and your child being born like this. What decision would you make? You know, would you decide at the child's birth and like you just make that decision, or would you let your child grow up and have them make that decision once they're old enough? You know? That's really hard. I was thinking about it a lot during class, like what would I do, you know? So yeah, I hope me kind of talking about some of these things got you thinking and opened up your eyes. This class, like, I really like this class. I love my professor Anna, and just like my classroom environment is really good. We always have really good class discussions, and the things that are said are really eye-opening. So I want you guys to watch this video. Of course, if you made it this far, you watched it. But I want you to leave a comment down below regarding masculinity, feminism, intersex, transgender people, androgyny, the concept of androgyny, like Jeffree Star. I want you guys to leave a comment down below and tell me what you think. Be honest. I want to hear everyone's opinions. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad I could use this experience and make a little YouTube video out of it. So thank you guys.